All right, guys, I finally got around to finishing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I'm going to trash the game and talk a lot of shit about it because I think the game is not that I didn't have fun with it, not that I didn't enjoy it at all, but I think the game is kind of not just subjectively, but also objectively kind of bad in a lot of ways. Okay. And it is not surprising to me whatsoever that this game has not sold as well as Square wanted to. So before I get into a long rant about how many terrible things are in the game, I still think that the music is amazing. As someone who generally, in the grand scheme of video game music, I don't listen to a lot of Final Fantasy VII music particularly. I'd much rather listen to a lot of other Final Fantasies before 7. I think the music is amazing to the point that I don't even fucking recall half the songs. Half the time I'm listening to it, I'm like, wow, is this a Final Fantasy VII song? Because it sounds way too good for Final Fantasy VII, right? Another thing is I think the battles are generally very well made. There are some problems which I'll get into, but I think battle-wise, your characters generally feel very important, like indifferent, right? A lot of times you can play, and again, I use the example, say Final Fantasy X, your characters are, once you start to like level them up and get like a little bit through the game, you can just totally demolish the game on such a scrub level with like just having everyone do quick hit. And then maybe, if the boss is, even if a secret boss is actually going to get a chance to attack, I can just put in Yuna to like sacrifice a fucking Aeon or some shit like that. But this game, at least on a, and this is from me saying that I'm not amazing at the game whatsoever, okay? But just from a sort of, enjoyer of RPGs, I think at a sort of regular sort of level, this game is very well done in the battles. Your characters all feel special. Even though maybe I don't like all the characters and I don't want to play all the characters, it feels like these characters have specific attributes. And the team synergy attacks, like, it's good and well designed, I think, generally. Not everything, but generally, it's a well-designed system. Not the most fun I've ever had playing a fighting game or a RPG battle-wise, because I love Star Ocean 3 way better than I like this. But in terms of your characters feeling special, I think this might be the best RPG I've ever played. But to start with how many terrible things are in the game, oh my God, where do I fucking start? The story is absolute fucking nonsense. And not even just because of the ridiculous fucking time travel, alternate world kind of bullshit. The story is just not well explained. And I said this for the first game, that, excuse me, if you have not played the first game, I think you're going to be lost a little bit. And I was getting kind of confused. I'm like, who is this game actually made for? Because it's trying to bring in a new audience, but it's actually not really explaining anything well. And this game is the same way. There are so many moments in this game where it's like, if you have no foundational knowledge of the source material, you're going to have no idea what the fuck is even going on or why you should feel emotional at this moment, because nothing is fucking explained. It's actually bonkers. And when I think that this game is not sold well for Square, or well, I guess it's sold well, but not as well as they were hoping, apparently, it's like, well, no fucking shit. This game is not made for anyone new. It's not made to bring in anybody new. If you're a new person that has no idea about the source material whatsoever, and this is not me saying as a Final Fantasy VII connoisseur, because I'm not, but I have a sort of general idea of the game, right? Foundational. I don't know every fucking form of media of it, but I have a little bit of a foundational knowledge of it. But even then, it's like, things are not explained. And if you have not played the game before, know nothing about it, how the fuck do you know what's going on? How do you know why you should care? And also, this is a game for PS5 that doesn't even have as many fucking systems as PS4. And it's like, that probably care about these characters are probably older than me. And it's just like, your demographic, you are marginalizing or minimalizing your demographic that's actually going to be able to give a fuck about this game. And again, not even just the time travel nonsense or alternate reality. The story is not explained well, right? Like, an example would be, well, first of all, let's say the game is I've never played a game where I've ever thought, or an RPG where I've thought, oh my God, the pacing is terrible. And I've never played an RPG where I can ever recall thinking the pacing of this game is fucking awful. There's just the side quests and mini games are excessive. There's too many. And you might be like, oh, well, you don't have to play the side quests. You don't have to do the mini games. This game, there's not a lot of actual story in this game to contain the mini games, right? The game has more mini games and side quests than the actual story of the game. Like this many mini games and side quests of a game, it should have been for a full game with a full story. This is a small part of the story. And I can't believe, I hope this is actually wrong, but I was listening to other people talk about it and they said Square Enix at one point when they were first designing this game, they wanted the game to end when Tifa falls into the live stream. And I'm like, oh my God, but I guess they got talked out of it. Like, thank God, because there's no story in this game. Nothing even barely happens in this, right? It's still just such a small portion of the story. And again, nothing is really explained. There's so much padding for all these random mini quests and side quests, but you should have actually had more padded the actual real story. Like an example would be you get the fucking cat dude, right? Like, are you kidding me? You're just like, oh yeah, okay, he's in your party. There's like no real storyline for why he's in the party. You just accept that he's in the party. And then like an hour later in some dungeon, you're like, oh yeah, you're kind of in our party. Should we actually be trusting you? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe you should have like padded the story with this conversation right when you meet him. And then an hour later, he betrays you. And you know, the story's a little bit different or something in this game, but whatever, it's retarded. It's bad. Sephiroth, his powers are so ambiguous. He's seemingly a god and he just controls the world. It's seemingly at times, and yet you've beat him twice. His powers are ambiguous. It's hard to feel threatened by a guy that looks like he's controlling the world, and you've beat him twice. But each time you beat him, and even at the end of this game, he's just kind of like, "You're stronger than I thought," and he just flies away like a little bastard. You just met like, what is this guy's powers? And let's not forget that in this version of the game, when you go to the prison, a henchman with a wrench hits you over your entire. It's so retarded. Okay, it's hard for me to even fathom to say how Sephiroth seemingly can control the world, whatever the fuck he wants to do, right? Shows up whenever, the motherfucker's crazy. Yet you can beat him, so why are you supposed to be afraid of him? I don't know, but don't forget the strongest character in this game is when you got knocked down at the Golden Saucer. There was a fucking henchman with a fucking wrench that hit you over the head and your entire party, and you all blacked out, and he put you in a prison cell. This guy is stronger than Sephiroth, okay? No, I'm saying, does this make any sense to you? I'm sorry, but he should be the final boss. Him with the fucking wrench. You ever play fucking Star Ocean 3 where you gotta do like the fucking they have all those metal pipe fucking trophies? They should have had, can you beat henchmen? Can you beat the henchman? Apparently you can't. Why isn't he fighting Sephiroth? I don't know. I think that's not how it happened in the first game. Whatever, it's retarded. Just let's pad the story in another stupid way to put in more, to give you a different reason to do these mini games. It's just, the story's really bad. Or even when you fucking, oh, hey, we're trying to save the world. We got to catch Sephiroth as fast as we can. Oh, let's go to the beach. You know, this is not like a side quest to see Tifa and her boobies out. This is a main part of the story. Oh, Hojo comes. He's fighting everybody. And then Hojo's like, oh, yeah. And your guys are like, dang, we'll just let you walk away. You're just going to let the bad guy. It's like, and that's why I said, it's like, excuse me. And I said this before I actually beat the game. And I'm like, part of me is like, you know what? Maybe I'm just old. Video games are technically for kids, so to speak, right? I guess everyone can enjoy this form of media or video games, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just getting old. I understand games have to be silly, but the silliness is just so excessive. It takes you out of the moment constantly in this, and the pacing is just terrible with these side quests. And again, you could try to tell me that, Clayton, you don't have to do side quests. You don't have to do mini games. What the fuck are you playing if you're not doing side quests or mini games? Because there's almost no story. And that's the thing that also makes me afraid for the next game because, oh dear God, I hope it's something like you don't play the third game. And then Chadley's like, oh, Sephiroth just cast Meteor. Oh, for some reason, all my light towers or laser radio transmissions went out. Can you like traverse the whole world and do every intel, light up every plasma thing, whatever the fuck it is? Just do this all again. No, I don't ever want to do that again. Never. I never want to do that again. Please, if the next game comes out for PS5, please have there be something that like I can turn off in the option menu. Sephiroth's Meteor will not make you lose the entire world map because I don't want to do this again. Okay? I can walk around Ice World, Rocket World, whatever. I can fill up that map. Don't make me fill all this shit up again because I don't want to. It wasn't that fun. Okay? And again, I talked about that in the first thing when I was like a little bit over halfway through the game. I just don't think, the side quest minigame, the open world, I don't think it's done well. It's just not, it's not good. It's just, oh man. And again, it's not that there was nothing fun. But when I think about the things that were fun for the game, I don't think it needed to be this game. If another game had this soundtrack, I'd be like, wow, the soundtrack is amazing for this. I don't need to play it. Again, kudos to them for them again. Music is awesome. Battles are generally very well. All your characters generally feel like they have something that they're good at. Team synergy stuff is fun. I will say for the battles though, I do think that until you get to like the very, like literally right at the end of the game, or I guess if you're doing all this hard mode shit, which admittedly I have not done all the hard mode shit. I don't know if I'm going to do it because I just don't know if I actually enjoyed the game enough, but I've done most of the shit in the game. Unfortunately, a lot of unfun minigames, but I've done the majority of stuff. And I do think that you don't actually get chances to use all your limit breaks, the level 3 limit breaks, because when you're just like going through the game in itself, I can't remember. I don't think I ever had a chance to use my level 3 limit break until I got to the very last few fights, because you'll just kill characters too fast. Now, once you start doing some of the secret fights and stuff like that, you'll get chances to use these level 3 limit breaks and stuff like that. So I don't think that, in that sense, I don't think that was well thought out. You should be able to get limit breaks faster. I know you can put on like your metal or whatever the fuck it is, different siphon limits. But I do think, battle-wise, if I'm thinking about something objectively, I don't think that was well thought out. Another objective thing that I can say I actually think was really bad game design is every time when you play the game up till like one of the final dungeon, when you climb something, right, it has like a little yellow thing. But when you get to that final fortress, you climb on grass or the leaves, right? And the very first time you climb on grass or whatever, or leaves, is when you get Cloud's, one of the slipstream sabers, right? And if you go right, you get the sword. And if you go left, you whatever. That should not have been the first time you went on the leaves, right? Because when I first did that, I'm like, where the fuck do I go? I don't get it, right? So that they should have made you climb some leaves earlier in the dungeon, that it's more explained that you can go left and right and everything like that. Like that was actually like, I should not have been confused at that part. Does that make sense? Like that was badly designed. That should not have been the first time when you go up the leaves. Because I was like, I got the sword, but I'm like, where do I go next? Like, am I missing something below? Did I go left? And I'm like, oh, eventually I was like, oh, I can go left on the leaves. There should have been a leaf earlier in the dungeon where it shows you can go left and right to like explain. That was not properly explained, I don't think, from a game design perspective, and I think was actually not well done. But even speaking of the dungeons, some of the dungeons were unfun. Like I hated playing as the cat character, but as much as I hate it, I respect it for giving every character their chance to do something. Just because I hate the fucking cat character doesn't mean that someone might not like cat character. And even speaking of that stuff, fucking Dirge of Cerberus, or where the fuck his name is, Vincent. I forgot his name for a second, right? Vincent, like that doesn't make any sense. Hey guys, I'm sleeping. Oh yeah, just go in the door. Oh hey, well I didn't tell you could go in that door. Just a stupid reason, just to have you fight him. Just like okay, Sid's story. Whatever. He had some story before. What the story just is not explained. But it's almost like assumed that you know. Oh, well, you know what his story is. We're just not all going to show it, but you care about him. So just wait till we tell you a little bit more to care about him, because we're not going to explain his story as fast as we did before. So that's why I'm like, who's the fuck this game is made for? It's obviously only made for this older audience, right? Who maybe at some point is getting so old they don't even give a fuck about your series anymore. It's for PS5. How many people even own the system? I don't even fucking own this shit. I had to borrow it to fucking play it, right? So I don't know. I think this game is... When I played the first game, I came with it from the beginning. I said, characters felt special. Battles were good. Maybe some of the best boss fights I've ever played in an RPG. Great collection of boss fights, which this game didn't have. This game, I didn't come away thinking like, oh my God, there's so many cool boss fights. Like this game, maybe the Red Dragon, how you could hide behind pillars when he shot his red fire and the lava thing. Yeah, there weren't a lot of boss fights in this game where I was like, oh wow, that was really cool. This game didn't have that. Just the battle system itself is pretty well done, I think, right? But this game, I didn't come away with that. And the first game, I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do. This game makes me worried about the next game. I hope they don't fucking pad. They need to do a better job with all these side quests and mini games and this open world shit, because the open world stuff felt very fake. It was not well done, I don't think, at all. The summons are cool, for sure. When I got Bahamut and, I was fighting Bahamut, fighting some of these summons, I'm like, wow, dude, they're pretty damn cool. I was playing them and you're listening to the music is so good. And you're like, well, you know what, this game, I'm getting kind of tired of it. And maybe that's one of the reasons it took me so long. So I was like not really invested into it, because there's no pacing and I don't feel any kind of emotional connection to it. But, I'd go and I'd fight a summon and I'd get the summon. And I'm getting Bahamut and he's got his fucking magenta pink gambit color laser beams. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'm old, but I'm not old enough to not... I'm still young enough to think this is pretty cool. These laser beams, these are pretty cool. But guess what? That could have been in any game. That doesn't have to be in this. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? So a lot of things, when I think about this game, it didn't actually have to be in it, which maybe is a bit of a sketchy argument, because it is in this game. But it doesn't change the fact that I was just like, I don't feel as excited about the next game, because it's like, okay, what weird story are they going to do? Oh, maybe they'll do something. Oh, well, maybe Cloud actually killed Aerith, and that's why they'll do something really wacky. Oh, Cloud actually killed Aerith, whatever. They could do whatever. And that's why the party's so weird. Cloud, that's why we're being so weird to you. You kind of killed Aerith this time. What, I did? Yeah, we forgive you because we're trying to feel better. Even the story about Cloud not remembering stuff. Hey, let me tell the rest of the party about this. We're never going to mention it again, because we're going to pad it off to the third game again, even though Tifa fell earlier. Oh, God, the story is really bad, and it's not explained. It's just assumed for you to put the pieces to the puzzle together. And dude, fuck me. You know, it's borderline fucking Kingdom Hearts bullshit. You know, oh, why did you know the card? But the card knew you did this. Oh, but the card, oh, but I knew you would know that the card did this, blah, blah. Okay, stop. You know, at some point, dude, you got to, I guess, you're a little too galaxy brain for me. Tone down the level of intelligence. What the fuck are you talking about? Because it sounds. Oh God! I'm gonna say, do I fear Sephiroth in the next game? You know, that's talking about the Bahamut thing is a good example too. It's like, do I really fear Sephiroth, or am I looking forward to in the next game just being like, oh hey, there's gonna be some cool summons. The music is gonna be cool. Maybe they're gonna give Cloud when his brain is all fucked up. He's gonna be like, oh hey, Cloud from Advent Children. Hey, we gave you the white material here. I'm gonna give you my fusion sword. And now you can use a cool limit break. Oh, thanks, bro. Oh, not a cool special move that I can only do that, or yeah, I just, bro, I don't know. Anyway, remember if you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.